Assalamu alaikum everyone, this is Ayesha from CxO Global Forum, a knowledge sharing platform for all the C-levels across Pakistan and around the globe. Every time we have some very interesting guests with us today as well. We have Sir Fahad Shameem with us, who is the Regional Director and the Business Growth at ibex. Assalamu alaikum sir, how are you?
Walaikum assalam. I'm not a sir. I'm not a sir.
Right.
Good
So
to
how
good to
was your
be here, and I think thank you very much for having me here also.
It's a pleasure, sir. How was your day? Abhi tak, I would say.
Um, yeah, so I am based out of Karachi, right, and I haven't had the chance to travel somewhat recently. So I've enjoyed the exuberant summer period that we've had. Where are you based, Aisha? Not in Karachi, I suppose.
I'm in Islamabad.
So yeah, I mean, we have a weather similar to Islamabad right now, plus the humidity, perhaps a bit of wind here and there. But we've been enjoying a very hot and humid summer. Gladly, in the past week or so, the weather is trying to change, hasn't changed completely, drizzled up a
Definitely.
bit last evening. So yeah, the weather is coming. I mean, the temperatures are coming down, making it more livable, I would say.
Right. So, sir, I would want you to introduce Fahad Shameem to our audience.
Right. So, that's a very difficult question, normally speaking. But, and I'll try to summarize it up. Fahad is basically a technology-oriented individual, a technology-savvy person, and then, of course, a sales-savvy person also.
Right.
It's all about sales or negotiations in your life, right? And I've kind of adapted a bit more realistically, I would say, to that profession. So, in general, I consider myself as a a creative person, as a problem-solving person, a go-to person for individuals that are in need of looking at solutions or exploring solutions. I don't have all the solutions, but essentially I assist most of them in figuring out solutions by asking the right questions. A bit of a background for me here. I did my bachelor's and then subsequently master's in computer science. So I have a
Right.
very strong exposure and understanding on the technology side. For the first 4 5 years, I was a techie, sort of a development position and a consulting position. I engaged with multiple companies, including Teradata or NCR, as most people know it to be. And then, I sort of moved on to a technology sales role. And ever since I got the taste of what sales is about and what growth is about and how it contributes to a company's existence and sustainability, I've never looked back ever since.
Right. So, how did you become the regional director at ibex?
Here, I joined IBEX a long time ago, back in 2011, and I joined them from Dubai. I was working with a company in Dubai, and back in those days, I think there was a financial meltdown in pretty much every part of the globe, and we felt it too in Dubai. So when this opportunity presented itself, it was like falling back to home. Uh, it was like doing something different for a company that was looking to increase their growth and revenue within the region itself. So I moved with them predominantly to focus on their technology practice, in enabling them. I come from a technology background, right? So I helped them build up those independent practices and making them self-reliant, and at the same time helping them grow considerably. Um, so I have had multiple directorship roles within previous companies also, and I have it with this company as well. I think the relevance around that is the contributions I as an individual or my team as a group offers to the company day in day out, on a month in month out basis, on a year in year out basis. And that has been kind of the long and short of my journey with them.
Right. So, how would you describe your leadership style?
Yeah. I don't. I kind of detest calling it leadership. I think
Mm-hmm.
leadership is a very um, well. I won't comment on leadership. I think it's more of a mentorship. I think the way I look at it is mentorship rather than leadership. I don't, we are all born equals, right? And we all die equals also, for that matter. So it's all about supporting your community, your friends, your teammates, your peers, even your management. And mentorship goes a long way. So mentoring is all about supporting individuals in resolving problems, supporting
Mm-hmm.
individuals and teams in looking at different perspectives, um,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and being creative, right? Resolving challenges. So I
Right.
kind of focus more on the mentorship roles in general rather than the leadership roles. I feel that people want to understand. People have this innate smartness and capability, but
Right.
lack of understanding, lack of transparency, lack of visibility decreases a person's mindset, right? So
Right.
helping them broaden up their perspectives, help them go a long way. And there have been multiple examples within the company and outside within my network also who have benefited tremendously. So yeah, that's my leadership style per se. Of course, I have a hands-on approach to helping people understand. I have a hands-on approach to helping people understand how problems can be solved, and I try to solve them initially, right? So if I have solved a particular problem, that advice is there. But if I haven't solved a particular problem, I will engage with those individuals and with those teams to figure out solutions. And by interactions, more likely than not, solutions do come about.
Right. I found your style a bit different from the rest. So, what are some of the biggest challenges that you face in your role?
Um, so it has been a very challenging journey ever since I joined, right? And it's not so a highly challenged environment is something that has been a part of my life day in day out, because the kind
Right.
of role we're involved in, it's not a regular role that other people are engaged in, where they have specific objectives or KPIs to achieve. We, on the other hand, are like we have to enable the organization sustainability and growth. And more often than not, the company itself or individuals have a certain idea. We do have a certain idea on how to grow, but of course, we have to do a lot of legwork around it. So, it's a challenging role. Sales or sales related roles are always very, very uncomfortable roles, right? Growth related
Okay.
roles are very uncomfortable roles because the boundaries are dotted, and in some cases they're
Mhm.
not even defined. So we have to continue exploring different avenues, different options, different practices to figure out what might work, and most of them might
Right.
not even work, right? So that is how I think my journey has been, and that's how any leader's role, particularly a leader's journey would be, right? It would be so we are comfortable with change, we are comfortable with uncomfortable scenarios. Every day there's a new problem to solve, there's a bigger problem to solve. But
Right.
that's what we thrive at, right? That's what we look forward to. That's what we feel proud of once we've accomplished something. So, yeah, of course, some of the biggest challenges are economic situations, right? I mean, everybody knows how it's
Right.
impacting all of the companies and particularly the larger population per se. So again, a challenging time, but we've not given up. We're still exploring different avenues, different options of growth, trying out different things to see what works and what may not work. 9 out of 10 times we might fail, but the one time that we succeed is what we work for.
Right. So, how do you prioritize and manage your daily tasks and responsibilities?
So, urgent. Remember that diagram where there's urgent and important, and then there's important but not urgent. So I kind of follow that strategy. Um, Generally speaking, so the first things are the most urgent things that get done, followed by the important ones, followed by the remaining. Um, Normally, when I work, I generally keep my emails unread unless I've taken an action on them, uh, and they remain
Right.
unread. So I have a mental reminder of the pending stuff, and of course, I have a bunch of uh, to-dos and reminders and calendar items that are specified to help me, achieve those tasks within the deadlines that I have specified for myself, or allocated to myself. That's how it goes, right?
Right. So, what are the achievements, or I would say, what is that one achievement that you're most proud of during your tenure at ibex?
So, when I joined ibex, uh, we were a very we still are a very promising company, but at that time the growth aspect was much larger. I think we were one of the oldest companies within the BPO sector per se. We were the largest company within the BPO sector. We had achieved phenomenal successes with some of the local customers out there, but we knew that we could grow so much more. Right? Um,
Mhm.
I think when I joined in, it was about 800 people, and right now the company size is crossing 7,000 plus individuals. So having a tenfold increase is something that I'm extremely proud of.
Right.
We as growth contributors, um, our primary goal is to help the company grow and achieve different heights and objectives. So, secondly, I think the most proudful thing is the considering the local situation in the market in terms of job employments, in terms of employment opportunities. Uh, um, we know the situation how it is, right? So any contribution we do adds directly to that employment increase within the Pakistani environment, and we
Mhm.
operate from Karachi, from Lahore, from Islamabad. So, and we operate different types of languages. We hire different types of technology workforce. So any contributions and every contribution that we do increases in that employment ownership. So that is something that I feel tremendously proud of, right? When I bring in a customer that is able to offload, 1,200 plus employee business to us, that's a sizable growth opportunity, employment opportunity for a variety of different individuals in the Pakistani market. That's what drives me. That's what keeps me driving.
Right. So, as you know, that the technology it is changing very rapidly. So, how
Mhm.
do you stay updated with the industry's trends and the changes in the market?
I mean, nothing specific, of course, right? I mean, we attend several. So I keep myself updated with various statistical reports that are coming out in terms of trends and changes happening in the industry. Particularly what's happening in the US. I think it has a trickle effect across since ibex is one of those unique multinational corporations that were originated in Pakistan but now have a global presence, right? So similar to what we talk, we refer to when we are talking about Nestle or Telenor or etc. I think it's the other way around, and we're one of those very few highly successful organizations that have expanded globally.
Right.
So we have a very strong presence in the US. We've been having our presence in the US for the past 20 plus years now. We are listed on the NASDAQ Stock Exchange. We are about 32,000 employees globally with about 7,000 employees locally. So that, yeah, that, so I kind of, acquire that insights coming in from our US activities as well. and independently from the US markets also in terms of tech startups, in terms of trends and changes happening in the industry. And then we build up ourselves on it, right? So we are usually the front runners towards embracing that change and transition, and that's how we keep ourselves updated. So there's no particular straight path for it.
Right. So, what is your approach to fostering a positive and productive work environment?
Um, positivity comes with a sense of ownership. Positivity
Mhm.
also comes with having an optimistic approach. So
Right.
I'm a highly optimistic person, right? I keep myself positive in the most
Mhm.
difficult of circumstances. And trust me, out of experience, I am saying this, okay, 9 out of 10 times you would come out of that impossible scenario if you remain positive and you don't give up, right? So a lot of things that resonate with me is never giving up, right? Keeping your resilience, keeping up with your resilience, supporting yourself, and of course, I mean, you get depressed, right? You get depressed, you get dejected by difficulties that are coming across, but
Definitely.
when you deep dive into it, when you try to figure out what the problem is, the solution generally comes out to be
Right.
quite simpler than what you would expect.
Right.
The that people want to cry or generally, right?
Mm.
Not just people, I think it's a mental mindset of giving up too quickly, too soon. And I think that giving up mentality is something that should not be there. So I try to foster that. Number one. Number two, open-ended communication. 9 out of 10 times, the lack of communication results in different negativities coming across, right? And those can be personal, professional. So resolving them up by asking the right questions or asking those questions a bit repeatedly helps the individuals and the team in general understand. That's the kind of positivity. Of course, we as an organization have a bunch of extracurricular activities that help in
Right.
us. So we have cricket leagues, football leagues, music events, music idol events for that matter. There's a bunch of things that keep the individuals interested, excited. But more importantly, I think productivity is all about creativity. If you're not a creative individual, then you're probably not doing justice to your own role. So
Right.
I help people understand that when you come across to me with a problem, I expect you to at least come across with one solution in mind, right? One solution of how to solve it,
Right.
or at least a couple. The more you come across,
Mhm.
the better it. And with that mentality, it takes time. People have a tendency to not think
Mhm.
about that. Whereas any problem that is put across to me, I revert back with one solution. If I have a problem of my own that I have to handle with the team, I put across not just a problem but possible solution, and then they can, of course, get to pick whichever they like. So that's a very, I would say,
So,
important requirement.
right. So, what are the skills that you think are essential for someone to be in your position?
Yeah, I touched at that previously, but here and there, but of course, optimism, positivity,
Right.
right? That's very critical. But at the same time, in innovativeness, being
Mhm.
comfortable to change, being comfortable to peel off your skin so that fresh skin can regrow. Um,
Mhm.
Being flexible enough to unlearn. Unlearning is very critical, right? And as you grow, as you go higher up the ladder, there are multiple, uh, I would say, characteristics that you have to push yourself to unlearn. And then
Right.
coupled with innovativeness, right? So you have to always be creative. You have to have a mental mindset that flourishes creativity rather than the other way around. So and of course you need to have a larger goal, right? And
Mhm.
That goal can be, of course, about monetary aspects, but coupled with that monetary aspect, there has to be a larger contribution to yourself or to your society for that matter. So contributing to help others or yourself for that matter, non-monetary, commercially, is a critical aspect that I think a leader, mentor, or an individual in a senior role should have, so that and it helps tremendously. It helps tremendously. So, and then
Definitely.
of course you have to have an in-depth understanding of the industry, of the technology, of a lot of other aspects that are
That
more
is must.
technical or operational. But I just wanted to point some of the mental ones.
Right. So, what do you enjoy most about working at ibex?
Um, so when I started my career, a few companies down the lane, I made a mental threshold that I will stick with one company for at least 3 years. I achieved
Right.
that particular goal. Then I set myself higher. I said I would, work with a company for at least 5 years. Right? In our industry, it's a very constantly changing environment. So
Mhm.
sometimes, and of course, I would say character is unless I am working on new and different challenges or different objectives, I tend to get bored, right? And then that
Mhm.
boredom basically, helps me push towards exploring other options or other career paths for that matter. So in this particular case, keeping a steady mindset with the company help me understand both the positives as well as the negatives of working
Right.
in this capacity. So an ever-changing environment, a different, new, challenging environment. Every year you come across different sorts of challenges, exploring other
Definitely.
markets, exploring new markets. So that I think is what has kept me glued to the company ever since. So it's not just
Right.
one particular role. I've been managing multiple territories, different territories. I've been exploring new avenues, technology practice being one of them, collaboration with partners is another, exploring different regions out there is the third.
Mhm.
We now have, mashallah, say, multiple vertical industries under our belt, from FMCGs to
Right.
pharma to healthcare to government sector to telcos, etc. So each industry presents their own stack of challenges, to banking industry for that matter. So aligning ourselves internally and externally with those challenges is something that has been keeping me thriving in this role.
Right. So, one of my favorite questions here, outside of work, what are some of your hobbies that you're passionate about?
Yeah, good that you asked me this question. Because I think work life balance is very critical, and um, so I believe an individual needs to have some passion, some hobbies, not just to help with your corporate skills, but to help with you with your own personal growth for that matter. So मेरे जो शौक है ना वो I'm into vintage cars and old cars, right? So the classic cars. I have a
Right.
uh, I have a 40-year-old BMW that I take care of, that I nurture, that takes a little bit of my time and heartaches also, with all its failures and successes. And then the other particular very interesting aspect is that I love plants and greenery. So I have been expanding my garden space with all sorts of plants, and I take care of them as well. Of course, apart from that, cricket hai, football hai, you name any
Okay.
sport, tennis. I try to play as much as possible wherever possible. So these are just some of the other hobbies that I thrive on essentially.
Right. So, what would be that one advice that you would want to give to somebody who's trying to be in a position that you are?
Um, I think there are a few. There are a few. So having a positive mindset, positive, but a you know, yeah. So let me start off with by having a realistic mindset.
Right.
Realistic mindset is that there's no free lunch,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to play your part. You have to contribute your part. You have to put your head down and work. Uh, Either for yourself or for a company for that matter. It doesn't really make any difference. But even for yourself, you have to work. And there's no shortcuts. So there is a sometimes
Right.
a long and hard road, and sometimes, of course, you achieve successes through short-term objectives as well. So
Mm-hmm.
having a realistic mindset, and of course, but a very positive mindset, not giving up on the on those big failures that you might come across. Uh, l- Fear of failure is something that is very close to, I think, our entire population. Right? While we have a lot of entrepreneurism, that fear of failure is the mentality is engraved in our individuals, especially the ones that are coming out of different educational organizations. So,
Right.
having a positive mindset, creativity, innovativeness, and of course that uncomfortableness and readiness to change. Right? You might not be presented with an ideal environment that you envision, but you will achieve that. Right? I remember the first 3 months after I graduated in my first job, it was a daily I achieved and what I have yet to achieve. Those 3 months, and then the next 3 months, and then the next 3 months, they were all very, very crisp and clear in terms of what I achieved and what I have yet to achieve. So those specific short-term clarity of goals, and of course, very important. And then setting a high-end goal for yourself also, right? A 3-year
Bilkul.
goal for that matter,
Right.
5-year goal, 2-year goal for that matter, and then striving towards that. And those are some of the advices that I can uh,
Right.
put.
So, I'm sorry to cut you.
Sure, go ahead.
So, finally, how was your experience with CXO Global Forum?
Yeah, it's been a pleasant journey thus far, right? I mean, you come across all sorts of individuals coming in from different backgrounds. I am pleasantly surprised by the diversity of startups and tech startups that are propping up in the industry, not just within Pakistan, outside of Pakistan also. I think this is a good platform for Pakistani diaspora in all countries and locations to collaborate, to work collectively for overall growth and productivity of the Pakistani economy. I think like us, we strive towards increasing employment within Pakistan, right? Bringing FDI into Pakistan, enabling a more nourishing environment of business operations. And it is very pleasant to see all of these different um, individuals coming across collectively and trying to reshape our industry in general, our economy as much as possible. Of course, apart from the government mandated ones or the external factors, it's very heartening to see that individuals are still not giving up and doing their best to contribute.
Definitely. So, sir, done with this short interaction here. Thank you so much for your time. I hope that our viewers would be able to learn something out of this discussion, just like I did. And once again, thank you so much for your time.
Happy to do so any other time also. Thank you very much. Pleasure
Thank
talking
you.
to you. Take care. Bye bye.
Likewise.